I woke up at 1:45 this morning with the beginning of a cold and a question that's been bouncing around my brain basket for the last few days. Why are green and blue items still a thing in Modern World of Warcraft? From the early stages of World of Warcraft's history, green and blue items weren't just used for random disenchanting and transmog fodder. They were essential gearing steps on your journey towards max level and endgame content. A lot of them could be genuinely pretty strong. Most, if not all, of your pre-raid best in slot items were of green and blue quality. Some even stayed relevant or best in slot for the entirety of a full expansion. Think of all those weird little stat sticks and niche items that certain classes and specs were built around. Bonus spell power greens, the title charm for open world trolling. Some guy on Reddit even made a post about this item today. That cloth healer dress everybody wore in vanilla, and all those quirky blues and greens from dungeons that define some unique class builds. The best Libram for Ret Paladins across the entirety of the Burning Crusade was a heroic dungeon drop that you could acquire, not easily, from your first heroic dungeon. This is my Paladin during the Phase 3 of the Burning Crusade while I was raiding current content. I started late, so I wasn't in any way equipped with the best gear for my class, but I was still able to tank and DPS current content. I had to literally show up in chat wrath, get my gear inspected by someone before they gave me the okay to go on. They gave me the okay. The trinket I'm using on my Ret is a quest reward from a level 63 quest in Hellfire Peninsula. Before the Magister's Terrace dungeon was introduced in the final phase, my second trinket was another level 63 quest reward from Terracar Forest, and it was a green trinket. Can you imagine stepping into Mythic Plus or Heroic Raid with a green item in retail? If anyone had the sense to give your gear just a little bit of a look over, you'd be booted so fast it'd make your head spin.
Hey, where'd the guy go?
So in Modern World of Warcraft, what's the point? Why are green and blue items still in the game? I don't know. I'm gonna find out. Can you name a single one from this expansion off the top of your head? I can't, and I have OCD, and ADD, and an alcohol problem, and a cold coming. Leveling's lightning fast, heirlooms exist, stats are streamlined where there's no special bonuses on random green items anymore. Endgame gearing skips straight to epics so quickly that green and blues barely register as part of the gearing experience. Weekly quests, reward epics, delves, epics, world bosses, epics. Outside of PvP with its eye level scaling, the only real use for green and blue items now are enchanting materials, transmog, and general world flavor. The sad part about all of this is that the decline didn't happen overnight. Like most things, it was gradual. We became so used to having epic endgame gear, we forgot what gearing was like when WoW first started. I remember in Phase 1 of Classic, I was running Upper Blackrock Spire with my guild and Hand of Edward the Odd dropped. I rolled 101 it and nearly shit my pants. That's what I miss about gearing. For anyone who played the original trilogy or revisited them a few years back, you could see that the writing was on the wall, and it was put there by Big Daddy Arthas. It was in the Wrath of the Lich King expansion where heroic dungeons started raining epics. That was the first real shift. Every heroic dungeon dropped an epic. I walked into Nax Ramus the first time in Wrath, all purpled out like Grimace.
Grimace is a brother. He's an amorphous mass. He's like a big amoeba. He's a black amoeba, Sean. Purple.
Anyway.
It felt good, sure, but it also set the expectation that all heroic dungeons reward epics, and that mentality carried forward. From that point on, every expansion lead harder into epics as the baseline. Cataclysm, Mists, Warlords, each one further compressed the gearing curve, and by Legion we had World Quest dropping epics. And that expansion introduced Mythic Plus and Titan Forging, two additional juiced up methods of gearing. The battle for Azeroth and Shadowlands continued the trend, and here we are in modern retail where multiple systems dump purple items on you the second you hit max level. The system is modernized even further in that there are certain tiers of epics, so it's no longer a question of if the item is epic, but what tier of epic. Now I'm not saying I want blue and green items deleted, I'd love looking like a pretty lady in Classic. Hot. Farming for those niche greens and blues across Azeroth was an entire journey in itself. I genuinely can't imagine a world without green and blue loot. It's part of the game's DNA. And I do understand that retail World of Warcraft is not Classic. Well, I got that, okay? But a system where epics are the default reward for practically every activity feels flawed. When I receive green and blue items in retail, I do three things every time. I see if I have the transmog yet, I check the price of vendoring the item, and if it's less than 100 gold, I disenchant it, and it's over 100 gold, I sell it. I'm not sure why 100 gold, but as I said, I have OCD. Now, from what I can tell, the reason Blizzard keeps green and blue items around mostly falls into two large buckets. Legacy and world building, that's one thing, and system dependencies, that's the second. First, we have flavor and immersion. Blue colors are one of WoW's legacies. Blizzard basically invented the modern green, blue, purple system, and when WoW finally does kick the bucket, the phrase popularized color coding for item quality will probably be carved on its tombstone. Also, you think you do,
but you don't.
Getting a green or blue item drop is World of Warcraft. Even if the stats don't matter anymore, the colors help make the world feel layered and lived in. Second, we have PvP gearing. This structure still technically exists. Honor greens and blues, and veteran or conquest epics. Then there's that weird situation where blue from PvP world quests scale lower than the green you buy with honor. I don't understand that one. Also, does anyone use the blue crafting badges for PvP? I'm too afraid to ask. PvP Reddit's scary. Third, we have enchanting materials. Now this is the main reason why they're still in the game, from what I can tell. Green and blues are the bread and butter of enchanting. Removing them or marginalizing them even further would create a ton of ripple-down effects across the profession system. I don't think we want to tackle that beast quite yet. Fourth, we have transmog. Thousands of unique appearances, some of WoW's hottest looks, come from old green and blue items. You remove those and you erase massive swaths of WoW's cosmetic history. Fifth, we have world design and loot tables. Every old dungeon, quest chain, and entire leveling zones were built around green and blue items. Tearing that apart or redesigning it would be a huge effort for almost no payoff. I'd rather have that development time focused on improving PvP than sorting through that mess. And finally, we have the new player experience. Not everyone starts with heirlooms, crafted gear, or 55 alts, and that's fine. Green and blue still teach new players that satisfying feeling of looting something better, and even if veteran players quickly vendor and disenchant them, it does impact new players. I was able to gear up for Mythic Plus in less than 4 hours in Season 3 in a fresh tune, and I did it shit-faced. I couldn't have done that in Classic. Well, not in 4 hours. I could do it smashed. And I did. So from what I can surmise, green and blue items still exist because they're too foundational to remove. There's actual gear in the modern gearing ecosystem. They're mainly relics of a World of Warcraft that once was, not a World of Warcraft that now is. And if that is the case, maybe it's worth asking how item quality can evolve to actually mean something again, rather than just being a color-coded tradition we've carried along for the past 20 years. So what do? Should green and blue items scale higher so they actually matter for more than 20 minutes? I don't think so. We have enough issues with scaling and player power already. Or should there be some niche cases for green and blue items that could find a way to benefit certain classes or specs? I think this would be a bit too difficult to balance, and I'm sure some creative players would find some ways to abuse this. That's just what WoW players do, abuse things, namely themselves. Or should some tiers of epic gear, like Veteran for example, be reclassified as blue quality so epics feel epic again and a viable path towards entering higher content? Personally, I lean towards this route. I rarely keep Veteran gear on for long in retail, but I don't have the perfect answer. All I know is I would like to return to a World of Warcraft where picking up a green or blue item meant something again. Like Frodo Baggins said, I want to see mountains, Gandalf. Mountains. I think Pippin said that.